Welcome to Shri Learning Academy. Today's topic is Zero Trust. But if you are looking for more personalized guidance, we also offer private sessions. Reach out on WhatsApp. Alright, let's dive in. In the vast landscape of cybersecurity, network security plays a crucial role in safeguarding digital assets, data, and resources from unauthorized access or malicious activities. Traditionally, network security strategies were built around the concept of implicit trust zones, where certain parts of the network were deemed more trustworthy than others. However, with the evolving threat landscape and the rise of sophisticated cyber attacks, a new approach called Zero Trust Network Access has emerged to redefine how we perceive and implement trust in network security. Imagine your network as a series of interconnected rooms in a building. In the traditional model, each room represents a different part of your network, such as your local area network, that is LAN, servers, or cloud services. These rooms are divided into trust zones based on the perceived security levels. For instance, your internal network might be considered more trustworthy than the external connections like the internet. Within these trust zones, access controls are typically based on the assumption that if you are inside a particular zone, you are already trusted to access resources within that zone. This implicit trust model often involves perimeter-based security measures like firewalls and virtual private network, that is VPNs, to control access between different zones. However, this approach has its limitation, especially in today's dynamic and interconnected digital environments. Zero Trust Network Access represents a paradigm shift in network security philosophy. Instead of relying on implicit trust based on network location, Zero Trust Network Access focuses on user identity as the primary factor for access control. In other words, every access request, regardless of where it originates from, is treated as untrusted until proven legitimate, regardless of whether it's coming from inside or outside the network perimeter. To illustrate, consider a scenario where a user wants to access sensitive corporate data stored in the cloud. Now, in traditional model, once the user gains access to the internal network, they might have unrestricted access to the cloud resources within that network segment. However, in ZTNA framework, the user's identity and the context of their access request are thoroughly evaluated and authenticated before granting access to the specific resources they need. Let's look at the components of Zero Trust architecture. Policy enforcement point. At the heart of Zero Trust architecture is the policy enforcement point, which is responsible for making access control decisions based on predefined security policies. Think of it as the security guard stationed at the door of each room in our network analogy. Before granting access, the policy enforcement point verifies the user's identity, checks the access request against security policies, and enforces the principle of least privilege, ensuring that users only have access to the resources necessary for their roles. For example, if an employee tries to access a sensitive database containing customer information, the policy enforcement point will evaluate whether the user's identity is authenticated and whether they have the necessary permissions based on the predefined policies. If the access request aligns with the security policies, the policy enforcement point allows access, otherwise it denies the request. Adaptive identity authentication. In a zero trust model, authentication methods are not one size fits all. Instead, they adapt based on the contextual factors such as the user's location, device, time of access, and behavior patterns. This adaptive identity authentication ensures that the level of authentication matches the risk associated with the access request. For instance, if a user is accessing the network from a trusted corporate device within the office premises during regular working hours, they might only need to provide a username and password for authentication. However, if the same user attempts to access the network from an unknown device or from an unfamiliar location, the authentication requirement might escalate to include the multi-factor authentication or biometric verification to mitigate the higher risk. Control plane and data plane. In Zero Trust architecture, network operations are divided into two planes, the control plane and the data plane. The control plane handles network configuration and policy management. It includes components like the policy engine and the policy administrator, which define and enforce access control policies across the network. The control plane acts as the brains of the operation, orchestrating access control decisions based on predefined rules and contextual information. Data plane. It is where actual user communication and data transfer occurs. It involves users, systems, resources, and the policy enforcement point. Once access is granted by the control plane, the data plane facilitates secure communication between the users and resources while continuously monitoring for any unauthorized activities or policy violations. SASE, that is Secure Access Service Edge. It represents the convergence of networking and security services into a unified cloud-based architecture. SASE integrates a wide range of security functionalities including firewall, web gateway, anti-malware, intrusion prevention, cloud access, security broker that is CASB, and data loss prevention that is DLP into a single comprehensive solution. Imagine SASE as a virtual security perimeter that follows users wherever they go, regardless of their location or the devices they use to access the network. By consolidating security services in the cloud and applying them consistently across the entire network, SASE provides scalable and flexible protection against evolving cyber threats while ensuring optimal performance and user experience. In summary, Zero Trust Network Access represents a fundamental shift in how we approach the network security by prioritizing user identity and context over traditional notion of trust based on network location. By implementing components such as policy enforcement point, adaptive identity authentication, and a unified architecture like Secure Access Service Edge, organizations can enhance their security posture, mitigate the risk, and adapt to the dynamic nature of modern cyber threats. Embracing the principles of zero trust not only strengthens security but also enables businesses to achieve greater agility, scalability, and resilience in an increasingly interconnected digital landscape. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you are looking for more personalized training, contact us on WhatsApp. We offer a range of theoretical and practical courses starting at just $99. You can also find a written explanation and a quiz on our website, link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe for more useful videos and feel free to ask any questions in the comments. We are here to help. See you in the next one.